Don't be shy, 'cause life won't bring you down too far.
Oscar BEVIS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global here in MTK's Fight Bubble, joined by Mr. Pete Taylor. How are you, sir?
All good, thanks.
For those who may not have seen Gary Cully before, boxing's on the return and people are watching as much boxing as possible. Say they tune in to IFL TV tomorrow night. Just let them know what they can expect from the Diva.
Gary's a 6'2" southpaw, and he can punch. He's like a Whyte Thomas Earns, but a southpaw version of him, and that's a good compliment. And you know, he's very explosive, and he always makes for an exciting fight.
Yeah, I've actually seen that comparison before. I think we was putting up some of MTK's best fights, pardon me, over the lockdown, and one of them was the new Tommy Hearns. A tough test for him, and I just want to talk to you from a coach's perspective, because I spoke to Gary yesterday and he said he sort of 135, 140 to maximise the opportunities. Is that stressful for a coach when someone says, look, I could be here, I could also be here when I'm looking at different opportunities?
No, it's just giving us more opportunities. Gary could actually make super featherweight as well. It'd be hard for him to do it, but he couldn't make it. So if the right fight comes up, you're going to fight at that weight. Once he's comfortable at that weight. But there's no problem with Gary making weight. And I suppose when you're 6'2", you can jump up and down the weight. It's no problem.
And he has to, because it is an avoidable fight, isn't it? If someone looks at him, like you said, 6'2" southpaw, it would be easy for people to go, you know what, I don't particularly fancy that.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is it's difficult to get him fights now. In all fairness, his last fight, Joe Fitzpatrick, was at 10-0, and he took the fight, and where nobody else wanted to take the fight. And they start today. Tomorrow's fighting Craig. He's actually a big lightweight as well at 6 foot. So it's the two tall boxers fighting each other tomorrow, which is going to be interesting.
And what Lee said earlier, he said that Craig's team have been texting him saying that they're going to do this and Craig's going to knock Gary out, etc., etc. So at least he's bang up for it. So regardless of, we know Gary's got brilliant skill set. Yeah, Craig's bang up for it.
No, that's great. It's great because you want someone who's going to compete against you instead of having a journeyman. So it's going to make for a good fight. And fair play to Craig for taking the fight, because not many people would take it. And obviously we've looked at Craig, and I thought he was unlucky in his last fight not to get the win. So he's had a career, 2 careers really. He had a career when he started and he didn't do that well. Then he came back and he's done brilliant since. And obviously he takes any fight. He fought Luke Campbell as well, so he's up for fighting anybody, in all fairness to him.
Just want to move away from Gary and onto Tyron. We know the MTK Golden Contract finals coming. That's massive. We don't need to go through besides that fight. But yesterday, Ohara and Ohara-Marku were going at it online. We saw Ohara go at it with Anthony Fowler. That didn't materialise into a fight. Is it from your side, are you quite happy to just let Ohara, or sit back and watch Ohara do all of this, knowing that it makes it look like he's not concentrating fully? I mean, he probably is, let's be honest, but things like this could take his mind away from the fight and just play into the hands of Tyron?
We don't really take much notice of it. We can't control what Ohara Davis does. We can only control what Tyron does. So, he's mad going for having a fight there. He's not getting paid for it. Just keep his hands to when he gets paid in the Golden Contract. Just don't really take much notice of it, to tell you the truth, because we can't control that. We're only going to control what Tyron's doing, and Tyron, he'd be ready to box in a week's time. In all fairness, he's not been out of the gym, so he's in great shape.
And the war of words between him and Ohara has actually died down quite a bit. I can imagine it might pick up on Fight Week, but yeah, he's sort of not stayed under the radar, but he's staying fairly quiet, Tyron. Yeah,
Tyron's staying quiet, he's just boxing away. But I think Ohara has fights with everybody. I mean, you've named 3 people there. He seems to be fighting with everybody. But Tyron's under the radar, and he's just boxing away, and he's training hard. So that's why I say we're not really concerned what Ohara Davis does, because we can't control that.
Obviously that's to come, and that's one of the biggest nights pending for September so far, so we look forward to that. Tommy Mack, obviously we saw Chris Billum-Smith fight at Fight Camp and get his win and defend his belt, and he looked good doing it. We've heard Eddie say that him and Tommy Mack for the European title is a possibility. Any news that you can update us on that front?
No, we're Tommy's still waiting for a date, and the opponent, be great if he gets your man Brennan Smith. He's ready for that, but he's training away. Tommy, he's back down and living in Dublin, training away full time. So we don't, like I said, we haven't got a date yet or an opponent, but it's going to be in the next, I think, 8 or 9 weeks. So we're looking forward to that as well. So the camp's actually busy at the moment, with Cully out here and Tyron, and then Tommy Mack.
I'll say, when is the camp not busy? It seems like you've just got 1 million people in that gym now. Obviously, you've added Jordan Reynolds as well. It's a busy gym.
Yeah, we were hoping to get Jordan out on the Tyron on $1 million contract, but he's still got to be licensed yet. And but he is busy all the time. It's great sparring with them all as well, and everybody's coming to us for sparring because we've got so many weights as well. And so it's great. I think we've 16 pros there now at the moment, so there's always someone out. So everyone's always in the gym helping each other, which is a great buzz there.
We spoke a bit off camera about Luke Keeler. I'm not going into too many details, but is there anything you can tell the fans about Luke's return? Obviously, came up short last time out against Demetrius Andrade. I went to see Danny Dignam, who, why would you not be calling out someone like Luke off the back of a high-profile fight? But is there anything you can update us on in terms of Luke? Yeah, no,
Luke's he's going to come back now, and obviously he's going to take a warm-up fight anyway before he jumps back straight into the deep end, and then after that, then he's open to fighting anybody, So just looking for a date now just before Christmas. He's only back. He's had a lot of back problems. He's a good few injuries, after that. So he's about 10 weeks away from fighting now, and we've no date for him yet, but we'll see what happens then. But we won't be fighting Dignam yet. He needs a warm-up fight then, and then obviously it's a potential matchup.
Obviously, busy gym, good to have everyone back, and I bet it's buzzing at the moment. But I want to talk about before gym and the success of the Pete Taylor Boxing Academy. Now, these sort of online classes that you've been running to turn your average person into a boxing genius, should we say?
I don't want to say a boxing genius, but yeah, now look at the lockdown, so it was just something to do, and we've Boxing Academy there going in Dublin now, and it's flying, we've kids there up to professional boxers, so now I think everybody wants to be a potential Katie Taylor, so now we're flying in Dublin, so it's flying along, it's going great.
And you've got the sort of online service as well, where if you want to, you can learn different things about the game of boxing and like box fit as well to keep yourself fit in like little circuits and stuff. So I take it that's going quite well.
Yeah, it's flying along as well. The online thing I think is the way to go for boxing, but it can be very frustrating as well when you're getting messages saying how do you do this, how do you do that, and you're trying to explain it to them online. It's not hands-on, but it's challenging, all right. And I'm not really into the social media end of things, but it is challenging. But it's interesting. It's the future, I think.
You mentioned Katie, and I want to talk about Katie. How could we not? I mean, there was doubt after the first Persoon fight, and she put that right at fight camp. Good to see the respect between them two after. They went to war once in New York. They went to war again in Matchroom Square Garden this time. And I saw your Instagram post where you said, undisputed, the greatest female fighter of all time. There's not much more you can say about Katie, just fantastic.
Yeah, I think she boxed a lot better this time. I thought she won the first fight. I know there was a lot of controversy over it, but just because you're swinging punches and you're not connecting, it doesn't mean you're winning fights. And for the people, the boxing people, they know who won the fight. And I suppose when you're live, fights all look different when it's live. I mean, even when Tyron Mack won in his last fight, the semi-finals against the French lad, there was a lot of controversy about the fight. But when you were there live, we were actually confident he won the fight. But on TV, it may look a little bit different because you just see people punching. You don't know if they're landing or not, But I thought Katie was very controlled in this fight, and she won by. I thought that 96-94 was a fair reflection of the fight. That's the way I scored it as well. So, but that's boxing. There's always going to be people giving their opinion. That's what's great about the sport,
And Katie did say, I'm sure, that she's quite relieved because it just looked like a slog. Persoon is relentless. And like you said, just because you're throwing the punches doesn't necessarily mean they're landing. But, I mean, she certainly had a work rate.
I mean, she's that tough as nails as well now, in all fairness. I mean, she even said in an interview her nose was broken in the second round. And, You know, and people say, no, she's a tough woman boxer. She's just a tough boxer, not male or female. And it was a great fight, and it was a great fight for female boxing. But you know, you don't want too many of them fights as well. You know what I mean? But I think the more they'd fight, the easier Katie would find a way of winning the fights. You know, because you can't keep going to that relentless like that all the time. You know.
And all that's going to come from Katie now is just more cementing the legacy. Talk about the Serrano fights and fluctuating at different weights. We know, and people over here want to see Chantel Cameron get her chance as a British fighter as well. So from now on, it is 14-0, but it just seems like every fight's going to cement more of that legacy as one of the best.
Yeah, I think everybody wants to fight Katie. It's like for them.
For the Canelo fight in female terms.
Yeah, it's like because it's where the money is, and I mean, the Serrano, she had every opportunity to fight Katie, as far as I know, and she never stepped in. She didn't want it. I don't think she wanted to fight. But I think there's so many options out there, and there's like Chantel Cameron's and Natasha Jones had a good thing there. Terry Harper as well. There's a lot of British fighters out there. It's up there in the rankings. So I don't know. It's I'm not involved in that end of it with Katie. So. No, they'll make the right decision and the right fight for her.
I want to talk about the card now. Take it you watched Whyte Povetkin? Yeah. From a trainer's perspective, obviously, Dillian split with Mark Tibbs, and he was working out of a different team in Portugal, and then he brought Dave Caldwell in to the corner. It's easy to look at lots of different things when people lose, but do you feel like perhaps not having Mark, who's taken him on this sort of successful journey to the WBC #1, do you feel like that could have been a hindrance in Whyte's performance? Yeah,
I think it's a huge hindrance. I think, it's happened even in the amateurs with my own daughter, with me and Katie. So you build up a relationship, but look, that's taken away from what Povetkin did as well. Povetkin had been dropped and he was tired, but he's got embedded in that Russian school of boxing, and then just slipped the right hand, planted him with the left uppercut, and you can't make excuses. You can't take away from that punch. If you'd have had Mark Tibbs, anyone in the corner, that punch, if it lands and it's all over, isn't it, But yeah, there's all little different issues. But like, that's not Povetkin's problem. He just landed the punch on the day, and just shows you never give up in boxing. Like, you show some character there.